Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
And bear with us as we try to make it through this D&D video. It might just be torture.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So this is one of those subjects that can be really touchy. I noticed it in a Facebook group. The original poster was asking, is it okay to do this in a game?
So it is very touchy how we're going to look at it. It depends upon a lot of things. And I think first and foremost is it's going to touch on the social contract. What are the age levels of the players at your game? Are you playing with kids? Are you playing with all adults? If you think that, or if you've decided as a group that it is okay that you can do this, we then move on to the next thing. But if in any way, shape, or form people are against this happening at your table, then absolutely don't do it.
Yeah, so what is the theme of your game? What is the theme of your table running with? Are you playing more like Lord of the Rings style game? Or are you playing more Game of Thrones style game? So there's a huge, and then there's a huge swath in between, kind of what's okay and what's not okay. Even like in Lord of the Rings, they're like, this is a pathetic, pitiful creature. We should kill it. And then Gandalf's like, you should not take something without which you cannot give. Is me paraphrasing horribly the line that he uses.
Right.
Where in, Game of Thrones, nothing is off the table. The most horrible things are done, mutilations, torture, rape, murder, you name it. Nothing is taboo.
Right. And that is a good dichotomy of it. Now, in the game that I'm running, I felt that it was within the means of the game to actually have something like this happen, but I didn't go into graphic detail. I just said that, you were tortured over the course of several days, and I was trying to add a little bit of realism to the game, and I tried to get information out of a player. And it was designed to further the course of the story, not to terrify the players at the table, like, oh my god, my character is going to be next.
Off scene, it happened. It's also, from our table, it's also a good example of player agency gone horribly wrong as well. In some senses. As because the idea was like the way you presented it, and it could have been fun, but the player wasn't really having any of it. He's like, my character would never break, he would never talk, he would never do anything, he would die first. So, which, I mean, you can kind of go that route, but it's very uninteresting. So for future reference, if what I learned from that experience, if I was going to put torture in my game, one, I would also like to, keep it, off scene. I don't think that like that's something that needs to be graphically described. I don't think it's going to enhance the game at all.
Right.
Maybe if the character wanted to describe scars or something that they have from it later on in the game, that's fine. But I would probably make some kind of skill challenge based on that skills challenge. If failures means that's how many times the player breaks. Now, that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean they give truthful information, because everything I've ever seen about torture says it doesn't actually work. Like, you will talk for the most part, but it doesn't actually necessarily ever mean, it doesn't necessarily mean the information is going to be accurate or true.
Yeah.
You're going to say whatever just to make the pain stop.
Yeah, and if you've got the wherewithal to fight through the pain and be able to provide a falsified information and trick the torturer into believing what you're saying is accurate, that is, kind of the best thing that you've the best scenario to get out there. I look at this as like, okay, if you're going to do it and it's not going to be to everybody, do you have that player's permission? Is this okay? Can it be something that you completely do off camera? All right, you end at this crux moment, and then you fast forward to after it's over, and then you give the player agency with, well, you were tortured. You can deal with this however you want. You can completely alter the character, both role playing wise, mentality wise,
adding flaws or personality traits.
And you have the ability to then have the player describe in whatever detail they actually want, and it then becomes the player's thing, not the DM's thing.
I feel like too, like if if you're gonna do this and talk about this in your session 0, like you start with, okay, this is something that could happen at the table, then you're gonna almost have to like go through like a menu type list of what's okay and what isn't okay, depending on your table as well. You know, how dark, how gritty you want to get, that kind of stuff. Like we did a session 0 for a Shadowrun game, I think it was, and for whatever reason, cannibalism came up and it was off the table. So I don't think people should eat other people, and I don't want to see it in the game. I don't remember how this came up or why, but someone literally did bring that up, which is funny because, you know, in my game this past week, it did kind of come up. And it was one player going, well, if I start to go crazy like these creatures in this place, please kill me. And the other player was like, I will, and I will eat you.
That is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Now, torture and capturing are two completely different elements. And, like, so far we've mainly been just talking about the torture aspect of it. Capturing, I think, is a whole nother ballgame, and I don't think it really requires any kind of extra permissions or what have you, because it can be done it can do all the other things. It can progress the story. It can, change the scene. It can do all of these things, but it can also prevent a party wipe. Oh, well, I put an encounter that was too strong. Instead of killing you guys, well, I'm going to just capture you instead. And the thing that doesn't matter whether it's, a group of orcs or a group of giants, rather than just killing you and the party's over, well, we're going to take you back. And you come up with a reason. Well, they're not hungry now, or they want information of why you're on their land, or,
Slaves.
And you can always go with the slave option. But
listen,
either way,
you're an orc. You've been raiding a lot, swinging a heavy axe. Sometimes your shoulders get a little tight. You got to march off to that village and haul their stuff back. Your feet get a little. You're gonna need a shoulder rub and a foot rub after all that raiding, man. And slaves can be crucial for this.
And the halfling hands are perfect for it.
They're perfect. They're little and strong. They can really get in there.
Anything that you can come up with that's going to give them a reason to not become just a dead corpse. This is a great way to then move the story forward rather than end the story because the encounter went bad.
And then you can choose whether or not they need to be tortured or not. But, if you're allowing that in your game. The one thing I would bring up with that, so in order to even have that, you have to have interaction between the player and the torturer, right? So in a lot of movies, there's always like banter back and forth. You could role play some of the question stuff and really just ignore the actual torture stuff. And there's no, unless that's what you want at your table, you don't really even have to describe that stuff. But, you can be like, oh, you're in incredible agony and pain. And, here's the conversation. And you can still kind of do the role-playing part of it. So, that might, enrich your table. But again, it's always going to be like, well, what do you want to see happen at your table?
So, what do you guys think? How do you handle this at your table? Do you allow it at your table? There's a great place to continue that conversation. It's down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on Nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.